How was it?
Yeah, fine.
You sure right?
Yep.
You know you can't talk to me about anything.
I don't think I can talk about it.
Hey.
She's really depressed at the moment.
Well, that is tricky.
I don't know.
Well, let's talk. How do you feel about it?
Depression, stress, or something else, mental health comes in many forms. So can the conversations around it. Be ready to talk with your family.
Good night, everyone, and welcome to Lewwe Chat. I am your host, Glenn Eversley, and I'm excited to get into our discussion tonight on parents and mental health with Trey Cumberbatch. Just want to remind you guys to subscribe, like, and share the live stream with everyone, your friends, and your family. No, we have Trey with us, and Trey is a youth mental health advocate and aspiring community psychologist. His defining passion is educating young Barbadians about mental health and illness and connecting them to resources that promote their positive mental health. This passion is what led Trey to creating Talk to Me, a project which he hopes will one day evolve into a youth network of Barbadian mental health advocates. Trey, all
Oh,
right, man, what's up?
I am good. I'm great, actually. How about you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. No complaints here. So, Trey, tell us a bit about Talk to Me.
Sure, no problem. So Talk to Me, let me just say that although I am the founder, Talk to Me is a team effort, and I do have an amazing group of young people behind me. So I just want to thank them real quick. And we're essentially a group of mental health advocates, and we're trying to change the conversations around mental health and illness in Barbados. And we want to help to create a Barbados where mental health is no longer something taboo, that is something that we can talk about freely, and we can also seek the help that we may need as freely as possible. So yeah.
Great. Thanks, Trey. We have a very great discussion for everyone tonight. Trey,
Yes.
question here: how do young people feel talking to their parents about mental health? Guys, right, Trey, so you could just start us off with this poll that you had on Instagram and tell us all about it.
Sure, that's no problem. So the good news is that I didn't waste 3 years at UE, and I can finally put my degree to use. I did a poll on Facebook and Instagram and kind of WhatsApp, and I was asking young people basically how they felt about talking to their parents about their mental health. And as you can see, most young people really do find it extremely difficult to talk to their parents about mental health, and because of that, they're very hesitant towards even initiating that conversation. So if you're a numbers person and you look at the IG poll, 86% of the persons that participated said that it was difficult to have that conversation. So yeah,
Yeah,
sad.
that's a very large number right there. And I
For
guess
sure.
it's not a far-fetched thing, to be honest. I mean, people generally, it's all based on that relationship that they have with their parents.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
we will know, especially in the Caribbean society, that a lot of times that relationship is not there. But let me
Hmm.
just read some of the points that we have here. We have parents usually tell you to get over it. Wow. The second person says, I have a therapist and I only talk to her. That should tell you enough. Well, that's good. That they at least have someone there that they can talk to. They have a therapist. Because
Hmm.
most people don't even, especially young people, don't
Hmm.
even want to go into therapy. So that's a great thing that they are, have someone there to talk to. And the
Yeah,
third
for sure.
point is saying she just boils everything down to God has a plan, which doesn't do much help for depression, anxiety, and terrors. In fact, it just solidifies that talking to anyone, especially Christians, is probably pointless. Trey, how do you feel about that statement there?
Yeah. Well, so let me
Heavy.
start off by saying that when I say this, I'm not attacking a religion, I'm not attacking anyone's belief, but I do find that not just Christian parents, but a lot of Christians on the whole, they tend to be quite dismissive when it comes to mental health and emotional problems. So they do a lot of Bible thumping. So you would come, you would tell them, hey, well, I'm feeling down. And the first thing they're going to do is like throw three scriptures at you and then just go ahead about their business. And
Mm,
I'm not saying that anything is wrong with
mm,
using your belief as a helping tool, but you have to know how to work it. whenever you're talking to someone about their mental health, your main priority should be trying to understand what that person is going through and where they're coming from. And then after that, you could think about offering help and advice if they're open to it. But I just find a lot of Christians are not the easiest to talk to when it comes to mental health.
Fair enough. You guys in the comments, you can let us know how you feel about that point, that third point. Let us know, keep engaging, and make sure you share the live stream and everything. But Trey, I personally think it's something that happens a lot, especially in Christian society. You can't just, tell them, read the scripture and that will fix that. Like, you have to have a relationship with that person. Ask the person what's going on, what's wrong. You got to engage them, because at the end of the day, it all boils back down to love. And if you that person, then you will want to know what is going on with them. You will try to engage them a bit more. You will try to understand what's happening in their life. So it's true, and that's why you could see in society for sure that there's kind of a drawback from the Christian community when it comes to mental health. So we have our fourth point here. Someone is saying start walking around depressed. A parent is actually saying this to a child. So imagine, like Asha. I just want to thank Asha for joining, Ashani, and we have Christina. Thank you guys for joining. Right, but Trey, this is sad that a parent would say such a thing to a child, like start walking around depressed. Wow. It's so heavy, and you don't know what that child is dealing with. You don't know what they're going through, and those words right there can take them down a very dark path, depending on what they're doing. Sure, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I completely agree. And there are two problems with that statement. Mainly that one, you're making it sound like depression or anxiety or whatever the person is going through, you're making it sound like they could just snap the fingers like Thanos and be like, okay, I feel better now, which isn't the case. That's not how mental illness works. And two, you're kind of making it seem like the person is choosing to be depressed or anxious or stressed, and then you're kind of shifting the blame on the person for going through what they're going through. And as you said earlier, Glenn, when you shift that blame, you risk pushing the person to a darker place. The person might start to feel like, this is my fault. I'm a burden. I drag everyone around me, and maybe I should try to remove that burden. And that is not where you want that person to be.
It's true. Okay, thanks for your feedback there, Trey. We're going to move on to another comment that we got. So at least there's some positivity here. Someone said some did suggest that they have good communication with their parents. Talking to them about mental health is easy. That's fantastic. Like, that is fantastic. That's absolutely commendable. Because and guys in the comments, you can let us know how is this for you personally. Can you have you ever felt like you could not talk to your parent about how you're feeling about something? We have a comment here. You aren't allowed to feel sad at any point in time. Wow. And wow. that's sometimes, that's how they look at it, for sure. But yeah, it's good that we have some good feedback and that people can actually communicate with their parents on how they're feeling, because that's what needs to happen. That the parent needs to show that love towards the child, to let them know that I'm here for you. We could talk about this. We can get through this here together. For any help you need, I can get for you. And so Trey, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, coming from the poll, there was actually one person that said that it was not the easiest at first communicating on that level. They had to deal with a lot of the same dismissals and misunderstanding, but eventually, with time and with effort and with communication, the person and their parent got to that place where they could have healthy and deep conversations about their mental health, and they can now go to their parents and have that conversation. So honestly, that is the key, realizing that as a parent, you have to provide that non-judgmental space for your child, but at the same time, you're not necessarily going to get it right the first time, but that's okay. Like, it doesn't mean that you stop trying. You keep pursuing it until you eventually reach that place.
All right. Yeah. It's true, huh? It's true. We have another one here. Others were kind of in between. They said that they do talk to them about it, but but don't go into full detail.
Mm-hmm.
At least, like I would say, at least you could talk to them about it. But
Mm-hmm.
I guess going into detail might be a little hard for you because they might get awkward because
Yeah.
that relationship there is not truly established.
Mm-hmm.
Before Trey, we have a comment here from Ashani. As a
Mm-hmm.
Christian, I can understand that is sentiment, and unfortunately, when my mental taking a turn down that I realized that while having faith is good, I need to have to deal with trauma or it will get worse. That is
Yeah.
true. That is
Yeah.
true. Can't really
Yeah.
push it on.
Excellent balance there
That's-
on the
yeah,
perspective.
good night, Stacy. Thank you for joining. Yeah, Trey. So how do you feel about that?
Well, in terms of what Shani was saying, I agree. I think that's a very balanced perspective. You don't disregard your faith. You still hold on to that foundation, but holding on to faith doesn't mean ignoring your mental health. It doesn't mean that you don't do what you can here on earth to take care of your mental health. Like if
Right.
you need to see a therapist, if you need to exercise, if you need to read some self-help books, whatever works for you, pursue that. There's nothing sinful or demonic about that. Or it doesn't mean that you're not trusting God or leaning on God. In fact,
No,
God
yeah,
could be directing you to those resources to help you with your mental health.
it's true.
In terms of the point, no, I actually found that to be quite interesting, but someone gave a really interesting response on the poll when they went in depth. They said that it might be a case where, okay, I want them to know what's going on, but I don't want them to know the extent of it because if they do, then it might be as painful for them as it is for me. And I don't really want my parents to go through that pain. So, in a way, it's kind of noble in that they're trying to protect the parent, but I don't really recommend trying to bottle up things because that can get ugly. And I myself can confirm that. So,
Okay, fair enough, man.
yeah.
Okay, right. So we have here some indicated that even though they're not outright against it, still prefer to not have those conversations with their parents. They
Mhm.
would much rather have that conversation with a peer.
Mm.
No, this is something that happens a lot. A lot of people don't really feel comfortable going to the parents about certain things,
Mhm.
especially during that adolescent stage. You
Yeah.
more lean towards your friends, you more being influenced by your friends and their
Mhm.
decisions. So if anything
Yeah.
happens, you can let the closest person to know what's going on. If you're that vulnerable,
Mhm.
would, and it's true. But parents, we still want to encourage you to get in there because as much as a friend could help
Mhm.
someone who's going through something, they might not be able to get to the extent where the parent could get because when a parent is interested and taking part and being compassionate towards their child, understanding what their child is going through, it is
Mhm.
much more effective. I'm not saying the friend isn't doing anything or has
Mhm.
no value, but when you got that support from a parent, that is a completely different thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You have a
Mhm.
comment here from Stacy. Stacy saying faith alone is not enough. It has to work side by side with talking about it and seeking professional help.
Professional
That
help.
is
Yeah.
that. Thank you,
Yeah.
Stacy, for that. Another comment here from Asha Small. Parents can take it personally when you try to communicate your feelings. Hmm.
Mhm.
I don't speak to my parents about my mental health because these conversations usually turn into an argument or pure dismissal. Wow. I just want to thank you for that comment there. She says here again, I speak and vent to a trusted friend. Okay, so this
Mhm.
is what we were talking about. You see,
Yeah.
and because of that, the misunderstandings and because a lot of parents don't really understand what's going on with their child, they interpret
Mhm.
it so correctly and they
Yeah.
don't time to listen and they listen to respond as we would say and not listen to understand and
Yeah.
it's something sad that happens, man. Trey, what are your thoughts on that, especially Ash's comment?
Yeah. That's like Asha as much as possible. I feel the frustration because I mean, anytime you're opening up about a mental health struggle that you're going through, is a lot of people tend to make it about themselves, and parents tend to do that sometimes. I'm not painting all parents with the same brush, but most do. They think that you're attacking their integrity as a parent. Oh, you're trying to say that I was a bad parent and I just feed you and I just put a roof over your head and then like we're not saying that you're a bad parent. We're just saying I have this struggle right now. I'm telling you this because I'm looking for advice or just to vent, but sometimes you're actually making it worse by turning it around and making it into an argument or dismissal. So actually, I completely feel you, and I do understand why you would go to a friend before your parents. So,
Right, right.
yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true, man. We have some more comments here. Well, thank you guys for your participation in this discussion.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so we have KD saying here,
Mhm.
parents need to stop saying you're too young to be anxious. Whoa, or 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 what are you anxious about? You don't have anything to worry about. Whoa, KD, that's true. That's true. Like whoa, sure you want to take that one?
No, no, make my blood boil with that. It's like, well, you'll hear, you don't pay the bills, or you
Mm,
don't want the children to support, or a classic one that I get hit with. For those of you who don't know, I am a research assistant, so my job is like an academic job. But there will still be like some days where I feel really down or really tired, and then when I express that to like my grandmother, the first thing she would say is, "Oh, well, you don't do no hard work, so I don't understand why you're so tired." And it's like, my God.
I get you, bud. I get you. I get
So
you.
thank you, Katie. Thank you.
Yeah, and Christina here is saying she agrees with Asha. They can make you feel as though what you are speaking of is utter garbage. True. Yeah,
Yeah.
before we move on, just want to highlight some more of these comments. Jadine is saying, I'm fortunate to have a parent who I can speak to because she understands. It's fantastic. At first, it
Mm-hmm.
was not easy. She
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to see me depressed, but I told her how it felt when and I told her how it felt when she dismissed it. It got better. That's great. And I just want to remind you guys, right? It wouldn't always start off smooth. You have to get in,
Right.
and sometimes you might have to end up putting in more effort than your parent.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, remember, it's all for your well-being. And yes, you might see it as a case where, well, if then my parent them supposed to love me, then should be taking interest. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
everybody imperfect and everybody can communicate so well, no
Mm-hmm.
matter how old they are, no matter what situations they're in. So that's great, Jadine.
That's
That's
fantastic.
great.
Yeah.
Katie is saying again, a lot of parents do not know how to respond because they have not personally experienced it. That's true.
That's
That's
actually interesting because when I was doing my reading, someone said that sometimes it could be the flip side, where a lot
true.
of parents had their experiences with mental health, but they
Mhm.
never really fully resolved them. So when
Ah,
the child comes to them about it, then it kind of triggers them, and then they like
well,
kind of try to sweep it under the rug so that they don't have to deal with those feelings within themselves. So just let us know in the comments what you think about that. Like, could it be a case where parents also have their struggles with mental health and don't want to like be vulnerable with the child in that regard?
right. On behalf of Dominic here, Dominic, thanks for joining. Is great to see you.
Hey,
Um,
Dominic.
she says, I wonder sometimes if parents say get over it because that's what they learn as a coping method for
Oh,
them. Well,
definitely. Yeah.
I believe so. I
Yeah.
certainly believe so.
Yeah.
Just get over it. You'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Shani is saying here again. I actually remember when my parent actually asked me what I had to see a counselor for, and it was not in a loving way, inviting me to say it was more aggressive. Well, yeah, because they're not used to these things. They're like, what
Yeah.
you want a counselor? You gotta go to a counselor for to do what? Huh? You good? You need a counselor? It happens. Good night, Pastor.
Yeah.
Glad
Hey,
to
good.
have you as well. We have Sarah written here saying, thankful for my parents as they said to speak about what I am feeling. That's
Hey,
great, Sarah.
can I borrow your parents? Like, I just need them for 2 weeks. So I will give them back. I promise.
Great. So we're going to respond to your guys' comments shortly, but let's get back to the discussion. Right. So we have, because of the difficulty encountered, most young people don't even bother to try to talk about their parents about mental health.
Hmm.
That is true. That's
So,
very cool, you know. Like it gets to a point where you just say, all right, down with this. Let me really understand what's going on. Like that's like done with that. It meant no sense talking to them. Like no
yeah,
problem. Cool. I can go and talk to whoever else. I can go and cope by and that is how children end up having so much bad coping mechanism because
yeah.
the parents don't listen, the parents don't take them seriously. Parents need to
Mhm.
step in. I'm a parent, but I know for sure you need to step in and
Yeah.
like be there for your child, and it all goes back to love. Trey, you don't know. I just
Mhm.
like to talk about love.
Mhm. Yeah,
Talk about
like that.
everything.
Yeah.
You understand? If that love in there, you can't fake it. You
Mhm.
can't fake it. 'Cause if you try to fake it, it won't even last. So
Mhm.
yeah, Trey, what do you think about that comment there?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward and it's one that I can relate to. I remember a time when I was going through a lot and I tried to express it to my parent and they're crying and blubbering and at school and and I did like letting
Yeah.
everything out and after like a good 5 minutes of pouring out, I just get look blank in my face and it was like, oh, okay. And it was like, but I say, you know what? Like, we not doing this anymore. You had that window of opportunity. Like, you missed it. This is not happening again. Forget
Okay.
this. I say all of that to say that parents do have, in most instances, a very small window to like let your child know, you know what? You can come and talk to me about this. And if you handle it the wrong way, then you run the risk of the child never coming to you with that again. And going back to what Glenn was saying earlier about the unhealthy coping mechanisms, like not everyone has a supportive friends network that they can go to or trusted adults outside of their parents. So they might then learn some unhealthy coping mechanisms that could then lead to things like we said, self harm. We could even get to the extent of suicidal thoughts and suicidal attempts. Like mental health is something very serious.
It's true. I could just highlight some more comments here, Trey. I love these comments coming in.
Yeah.
Saying again, I experienced that issue both as a mother and a child. My child was upset about something his granddad said. He eventually calmed down. I went to him and told him what he said had upset him. Had
Ah,
him upset. Okay,
that's
yeah,
beautiful.
that's great. And
That's
thank you guys
beautiful.
for the comments. I really appreciate your contribution to the discussion. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Shani is saying here again, continuing last point. It because I wanted to seek help, but it is almost as if they want to control everywhere I go, which I understand, but still it feel like I can't be trusted or I can't be safe. Well, Shani, just want to encourage you to seek, at the end of the day, it's for your well-being. So I want to encourage you to seek whatever help you need actively. Some
Mm-hmm.
people don't understand, even your parents may not understand that you need to seek this help, but you need to connect with
Yeah.
some friends that could help guide you the correct way. And yeah. Christina is saying his response
Yeah.
was what vets what what vets what to me.
Yeah. It's not funny, but yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys. Stacy is saying again,
Whoa.
sometimes parents are simply afraid of the stigma their children will face, and they feel that not accepting their child's mental health is their way of protecting them. Be educate, and be advocate.
I love that quote. I love that quote. And going back to Shani's point and Stacey's point just now, we kind of have an issue too where parents, because of their own views of mental health, sometimes they can be obstacles to their child getting help for their mental health, which is might not study that they're intending to be stop the child from accessing the resources, but views that they have that oh mental health isn't necessarily a real thing or you don't need a counselor. Like you're sometimes leaving those problems to fester within your child, and that is very dangerous.
It is, it is.
Yeah,
Okay,
come
guys, thank you for the comments coming in. We're just gonna move to the next later.
on, the
Right,
victims of
so
victims.
we
I
are
like
on the
that.
second point, guys. Why do they feel the way they feel about it? Now it has here, do most parents even believe in mental health? Trey, tackle that for us tonight.
Yeah. Well, first of all, again, I want to invite you all in the comments. Thank you, first of all, for being so interactive. We're really loving the responses. And let us know, like, how do your parents feel about mental health? If they have told you, or even if you've observed them talking about mental health, do you think that they believe in this whole notion of mental health? Because in most instances, the answer is no. And again, I'm not trying to paint all parents with the same brush, but and we can get into this a bit more later, but in the previous generations, mental health wasn't really a thing unless you were talking mental illness and things like these serious mental illnesses like schizophrenia and psychosis. So, oh yeah, thanks, Taylor. Thank you very much. So yeah, I lost my train of thought. Sorry, but the general consensus is that parents don't really buy into this whole thing about mental health, which is unfortunate.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. We have here parents regarded as closed minded. Sometimes they don't even try to understand. And guys, we talk about communication all the time. Communication is good. Communicating with each other is good. But if you don't
Mhm.
understand, then your great communication is doing nothing.
Mhm.
To be honest. So, and Trey, is it that we have a lot of, you think there are a lot of closed minded parents nowadays that a child would open up to that? And guys, in the comments, you can let us know, do you think is a situation where a lot of them are just like closed-minded, quote unquote, the
Mhm.
fact that they don't even try to understand what's going on, they just brush it off, they just push it under the carpet, like you can't be doing that, especially in these times. So Trey, what is
Yeah.
your take on all that?
Yeah. Let me word this very carefully because nobody's to say that I tell them about the mother on YouTube. So let me be very careful. But when we say closed-minded, is yeah, like for them again, mental health isn't even a thing. When I was doing reading, there was actually some interesting data from the UK. They surveyed some parents, and out of the parents, 55% of the parents said that they don't really talk to their children about mental health. Then when they asked them why, 45% of those people said that because they don't think mental health is an issue, which it is. Because sorry to be throwing out the numbers, but literally 1 in 10 young people worldwide will experience some mental health problem or a mental illness. Yeah, and when I say young people, I mean like persons between the ages of 15 and 21. And then if you look at something like suicide, suicide is the second highest leading cause of death among young people between the ages of 15 and 21. So we're not making this up. Mental health is very much a thing, but it can be quite disheartening when the parents are closed minded. And a lot of times they don't even really try to understand where you're coming from.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool, Trey.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have some statements here that are made by parents. To be honest, when I see them, I just can't even. But yeah, the first comment I see here, it said, it can't be that bad. No,
Mhm. I mean, that's
if you're not experiencing what is happening in this child's head,
you.
if you're not experiencing something, how can you say it can't be that bad?
Hmm. And it like comes back to the whole point of empathy. Like, even if you're not experiencing the situation for yourself, you still do your best to put yourself in the other person's shoes. So it's like as much as possible, try to see it from their perspective. So like as a parent, you've been introduced to most, if not all, of life's responsibilities. So bills, raising a child, the mortgage, stuff like that. But with your child might be struggling with something like exams, and a lot of people tend to say, "Oh, them ain't even the hardest set of exams that you can do in your life." But try to understand from the child's perspective that is the most difficult thing they've experienced up to that point. So even though for you it might be child's play now, for them that's like the biggest thing in the world.
Before we move on, I'm sure we have a comment here from Asha. Asha is saying mental issues is generally considered, I believe, to be only for those who are admitted to the psychiatric
A
hospital.
lot of that in Barbados. Too much of that in
As
Barbados.
soon as you say
Too much.
mental, Black
Yeah,
Rock.
yeah. It's like,
It is
oh,
true.
bad.
You have a comment here from Jadine. I believe they do know what is mental health, but they lack sufficient knowledge. True. And this again is why I ask you, as those who have parents who might not understand, just to be patient with them and understand that they might not understand what is going on, you know. So be
Yeah,
patient with them, forgive
yeah,
them really, you know, and just try to put as
yeah.
much energy as you can, you know. We have another comment here from Tyler. He's saying, can the
Ooh.
argument be made that they are predisposed to not really consider mental health? How do we break the age gap without being seen as disrespectful? Wow. Listen, Trey,
God.
I think I know you want to tackle that. So let's hear.
You can pull out the comment again, just so that I can say it.
Right. Tyler.
Shit, me sweating, boy. Lord.
Thank you, Tyler, for this comment.
I believe so. Like, again, I'm not painting everyone with the same brush, but I do believe that when they would have been growing up, the whole notion of mental health, as I can't remember who it was that said it earlier, I think it was Asha, but that when you hear mental, you only think of mental illnesses and the psychiatric hospital and Black Rock and psychos and stuff like that. But when we're talking about that holistic concept of mental health, when you're talking about emotional well-being, the ability to work and contribute, stuff like that, I don't really think they had a lot of that going on. Let me know in the comments if you agree with me or not. And yeah, so I do believe there is that predisposition. How do we bridge the age gap without being seen as disrespectful?
You know, they're throwing that word down, Trey, a lot. But go ahead.
Yeah, and that's actually what I was gonna say. There's only so much we can do from our end because they, you know, they said that quote unquote old people stuck in the waves. I ain't calling anybody on the stream old. Maybe just clarify that. But it is hard to undo certain beliefs that you have after a certain age, and not just in terms of mental health, but in terms of like young people and what their role in society should be and how outspoken they should be. So the most we can do is literally speak our piece, present, okay, these are our experiences, and we don't mean to be disrespectful, but this is what we're going through, and here is where you could do a bit better to try to understand this. And yeah, that is what we can do from our end, but from their end, yeah, that was a tough one to answer.
Yeah, another comment here from Taylor. Taylor is saying a common trend that I have found is that their parents or grandparents did not take on their opinions much at all, to the point where they said that we were getting the good treatment.
For sure.
Getting the good treatment. So, you know, I get treated worse than this. So you gotta accept this level of treatment from me. Parents, that's wrong. Straight, dead wrong.
Yeah.
Your child. Do better, please. Please. Here from Stacy. She's saying my parents didn't understand generalized anxiety disorder, but they helped me anyway. That first line right there is cool. Is cool. They helped you anyway. And as we keep stressing, you don't have to, parents don't have to understand completely or everything that's going on, but show support. Help. And she continues to say, I am not standing by and watch others struggle and open my mouth and advocate for them. And not open my mouth, advocate for them. Great stuff.
Beautiful.
It's great. Okay. Good night, Miss Bajan. She's saying again, mental illness can happen to anyone, the celebrity who has it, and all and Bob Netflix. It's true. Everybody. Yep. So we can just move on to the next point here. Stop getting all foolish. Whoa. I feel like just a Bajan thing. Like, just start getting all foolish. One time, like, just down with it. You getting all foolish.
That's beyond dismissive. That is borderline disrespectful. No, that is disrespectful, actually.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And the next one, you have nothing to be sad about or to worry about. Now, let me say something quickly. It don't matter, Margaret. It don't matter how much food you got in the cupboard. If you got a BMW outside on a
Yeah.
road, if your curtains come from a certain store, it don't
Mhm.
matter. It don't matter all of this.
At
When
all.
you struggling with these things, everything else is minimalized in your
Mhm.
mind.
Yeah.
You're just suffering. So it doesn't matter. So you can't say you have nothing to be sad or to worry about. It don't matter if you get good grades in school. It don't matter
Mhm.
if you end up for a good job. It simply does not matter. Trill, what is your perspective on that?
Yeah, I completely agree, and it goes back to what Stacy was saying just now, that um that anyone could have it, from the wealthy to Bob next door, and it's true. When you're talking about mental illness, it doesn't discriminate based on your wealth, your race, your age. It doesn't discriminate, and you could even argue that that was a very interesting comment. We can get to that now, but um, where was I? Help me. Right, but you could also argue that with the wealthy people, sometimes it could be worse for them because they say money doesn't solve all your problems, and that is true. Sometimes it could actually be worse for them because they have all these riches, they have everything that society tells them will make them happy, but then they look within themselves and they realize, I'm not happy. I feel empty and I feel lost, and that could make their experience with mental illness that much worse.
It's true. We
Yeah.
just want to read this comment here from Miss Beijing 28. Do you think that our parents are battling mental issues that they were forced to suppress due to their culture?
Mm.
I completely agree. Uh,
Mm.
Parents have their own things going on that they
Mm.
have not for years dealt with, and therefore
Mm.
everything is just coming out at once, and they're just taking it out on the kids. And unfortunately, the children have to suffer the backlash because this was not addressed in the proper way in their day. Trey, do you
Yeah.
have anything else to add to that?
Yeah. So, quick disclaimer: I'm not a professional, so I ain't gonna be going about the place diagnosing people, parents. You got this and you got that. I ain't gonna do that. But
Uh,
yeah, I do think that's very much a possibility because the previous generations, if you look at it from a historical perspective, they went through a lot of trauma, and there were a lot of things. I think there are still a lot of things that they went through as children and as young people growing up that they really didn't address. And again, if you don't really address these things, they really don't go away. So yeah, I do think that they still very much carry it around with them, and our culture does play a big role in terms of teaching people to suppress. Especially let me say, especially Black people, because we pride
oh,
ourselves.
you went there. You went there, Trey.
Nope. No, but I'm just speaking from a cultural standpoint.
Mhm.
Y'all can put down your pitchforks in the comments. Just let me elaborate first. But I'm saying that we pride ourselves on being strong and being resilient, and we are. Like, look at what we went throughout history. But with that resilience has come this extreme of, oh, I gotta tough it out. I can't be soft. I can't be dealing with these emotions. I ain't got no time for these. I gotta go and get mine. I gotta go and hustle and stuff like that. But you shouldn't hustle at the expense of your mental health. That is my firm belief. But anyways, yeah.
All right, Sarah is saying here, getting to the point of having to be admitted doesn't happen in an instant. We need to
Hmm.
take the starting signs seriously. It's
Yeah.
very true, Sarah. Thank you for that. Thank you
Mhm.
for that. Good night, Sophie. It is
Sophia,
have you. What's
Wagwan.
up? What's up? Yeah. Right. So we can just carry on here. And the last one, just pray about it. Okay. Just pray about it. Margaret, I will pray about it. But guys, on a more serious note,
Yeah.
yes, praying is effective, but understand you might have that um level of spirituality, you might have that connection, right? But
Right.
they might not. So for them, praying is like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah.
So if anything, you the parent say, okay, can I pray for you? Take the
Mhm.
child and pray for them, love upon them, and tell them like, "I understand you're going through this. I just want to help you go through this, and I want to pray for you. So let's pray." And pray for the child instead of just telling the child just pray about it, and then you go on about your business. And it's like, what am I supposed to do with that? So Trey, what you have any thoughts and guys in the comments, you can let us know what you think on that last comment there, just pray about it.
Yeah, I fully agree with you, Glenn, that don't assume that what works for you will work for I'm gonna be careful, will work for other people because they don't share those beliefs. So again, praying might just be for them talking in the air and not really receiving the response. Whereas praying for you might be a very profound spiritual experience. So it's a matter of perspective, but there is so much power in just being there for someone, being present with them. I mean, if you want to incorporate scriptures with that, for sure. Like my mom, she was excellent at that. Like I remember a time, just a quick story. I was upset about something at school. Just maybe at Alexandra Glen, and I come home and like my mother could say I was down, and I wasn't necessarily right with it. But then I eventually told her, and then she sat me down and she said, "Well, I understand because I know that this opportunity means a lot to you, and I know that there's something that you really want to happen." But then, what was the scripture she used? She was like, "Is Romans 8:28? All things work together for the good of those that love God, is it?" But then she used that, and then she said, "Well, Trey, regardless of what it looks like, no,
right,
it will work out to your benefit in the end." And honestly, to the day, that has stuck with me. So there's nothing wrong with the scripture and the prayer, but just pair it with compassion and understanding.
It's true. It's true. We can just move on to our next point. This is a heavy one. Lot of confidentiality. Before we get into this, I just want to highlight one comment here from Stacy. Stacy, thanks for your feedback throughout the discussion. We really appreciate it. Stacy is saying, when I just developed GAD, I told someone and they told me, you're not supposed to have these things. You are serving God.
But people, being a Christian or serving God does not exclude you from life struggles, okay? At least in my opinion. Y'all can let me know. It doesn't make you immune. So don't tell people those kind of things, okay? Don't, please. Please.
We have a comment here from Soini. Hi, Soy. She says, I have a serious issue with some Christians' view of mental health. Some pretty much as demonic and think that it can be prayed away if you pray hard enough. Okay, we have a comment here from Mario Murray. Yeah, most of those responses I think are rooted in ignorance of what is really happening with the child. It is a lot of learning, and like Trey said, their own experiences coming up play a huge role. That's very good, Mario. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, Mario.
Yeah. From Sophie here. Sophie's saying everything cannot be prayed away. Some people need further help. Telling them to pray about it is like telling them to sweep it under the rug. Faith without words is dead. Fact, Sophie.
Scripture.
Someone was saying that earlier as well. You got to put a little action behind that faith. It is true. Good night, Cherise.
Cherise, hola.
You said not sure if solutions were discussed to address these child rearing practices. How can parents begin to experience a paradigm shift in their disciplinary methods? Trey.
Whoa. Bring the question again.
Sure.
Solutions were discussed. How can parents begin to? Well, it starts with there has to be a change in the attitudes for sure, because your attitudes will determine how open you are to learning about certain things and learning new approaches. So somehow they're gonna have to let go of these outdated attitudes that they have towards mental health, especially as it relates to raising the child, and be more open to a new approach and a new way of doing things. It's going to be tough, Definitely. Ooh, Lord, even thinking about it is going to be tough, but I guess what we can do is that we can expose them to platforms and discussions such as these and let them hear from us how we really feel about what they do and some of the things they say and do as parents. And then from there, see if they can become more open to other ways of doing things. But
Right.
attitudes would definitely be the main stumbling block because a lot of people think that from the time you offer something or a style of parenting that isn't like lashing a child or being rough with the child, the first thing you will hear, oh, that's something that Americans is doing, and you want to bring that American thing down here. You don't see how spoiled their children is being. Yeah, well, that was a very interesting question, though, Sharice. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Therese, for that contribution. That was fantastic. So
Yeah.
if he's saying mental health cannot be plastered with prayer, boom. A shiny wants to get on the confidentiality thing, man. Sure,
Yeah, we got that. Yeah.
sure. Kitty's saying it doesn't make you immune is very
Mhm.
true. Just want to highlight one more comment here before we get into the confidentiality. Stacey's saying broken minds can be healed, just the way broken bones and broken hearts are healed. Boom,
Send me that quote.
Stacey.
Send me that quote
Oh.
on the page, please, please.
Yeah, man, yeah. Open
Yeah,
minded is going to be needed. It's true,
for
Mario. Very
sure.
true.
For
Yep.
sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me get back to the lack of confidentiality. The saying to may share personal details with other family or members of the community. This is
Mhm.
true. We actually touched on this a little earlier up. Because your child is going through something, they when they muster up that courage to come to you and confide in you. They don't
Mhm.
want you to go and tell your sister, no matter how close you are to your sister. And even if you do tell your
Mhm.
sister should not be coming back and saying, "Oh, I hear your mother tell you me something, but you got some mental problems." That is not going to help anybody. It's not going
No,
to
at
help
all.
anybody at all. Don't do it. It is no. It's okay if you want to share with some
Mhm.
close people, um,
Mhm.
but invite them to pray for your child if anything. And if they do approach your child, make
Mhm.
sure that they approach them in a respectful manner and
Mhm.
and ready to listen to what that child has to say. Don't just go and just blurt out. I hear you got mental problems. Trey, what is
Yeah.
your take on that?
Yeah. That is one of my biggest pet peeves because, like you said, it takes so much bravery to even begin to have that conversation with a parent in the first place. But and yeah, like Mario said, trust going through the window. Like I in church Sunday morning and the pastor do the altar call and I just see about 15 heads turn around looking at me like like what? So
Everybody knows. Everybody knows.
yeah, I was like I like I'm gonna say this. I find that a lot of people in the church, I'm not gonna say the church, but they disguise a lot of unethical behavior when it comes to mental health with spirituality. They would say, "Oh, but I had to tell the intercessor so that they could pray." It's like, but have that conversation with me first. I might not be. Well, it depends on what age you are. If you're like a teenager, it's like, okay, I may not be an
More
adult, but
cautious. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, like Mario summed it up perfectly. Trust going through the window, and you have to be careful. And there's a question from Sharice.
Sharice is saying, could it be that the parents are sharing because
Mm.
they lack the parenting capacity to deal with the child's complex needs? That is absolutely true. And that is absolutely true. And, that's why we would say that that's fine. Sharing with somebody is fine because you might not know how to deal with it completely. But at the same time, you like that person can come across to that child so disrespectful, and it might just seem like everybody all of my business. You don't want the child to feel everybody all of my business. If you
Mm-hmm.
need to talk to somebody else to get help for your child, fine, that's fine.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah,
great.
that's an excellent point, Sharice. I will say that there are limits to confidentiality. So sometimes it may be something that could be outside of the parent's comfort zone or area of expertise. But if you know that this is something that you're going to have to take to someone, let the child know. Let the child know, okay, I know you want to keep this ideally between the two of us, but based on what you're telling me, I have reason to believe that maybe your health is in jeopardy or someone else's health is in jeopardy. So I may have to share this with someone. And would you be okay? And give them control. Like, let them know, okay, how much of it would you want me to share? Is there anything you want me to leave out? Like, give the child the respect that they deserve. Mhm.
It's awesome. Kitty saying I would never tell anybody again, but whoa, Kitty. Okay, it still needs to be confidential if it's for advice. It's very
Mhm.
true. Very true.
Mhm.
Shani is
Yeah.
saying that's fair, but then how can be taught to how can the child trust the parent? Fair enough. Okay, Shari is here responding to Sharice. I think that parents share certain comments to form conversation, which I don't like. Hmm.
Yeah. Like, my mental health is not your gossip. Like, what?
Straight. Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Mhm.
And yeah, so we can move in now to parents downplaying can feel invalidating, which may
Mhm.
lead to us bottling these things up. Now, the
Yeah.
first point here is talking with parents about your mental health takes courage and a willingness to open up. It may feel awkward sharing personal details with parents, so imagine being shot down after finally mustering up the courage. Just imagine. Just
Mhm.
imagine.
Like, yeah, that is.
That's
Yeah.
a tough one. I mean, like
And
parents, you gotta be open to your children and be mindful of the things that you say,
mhm.
especially when your child comes to open up to you about certain things. Don't just say the first thing that pops up into your head.
Mhm.
Take some time, think about your response, and talk to the child. That you
Yeah.
can't shoot down the child after the open and say the same things that we've been saying before, the same comments we put up. We talking foolishness, or you can be, or you can get through that, or just read a book,
Mhm.
just watch,
You don't
just
want
watch,
nothing to worry about.
watch,
Like,
watch a movie. It doesn't work like that. You know.
mhm.
Sure, do you have anything to add to that? And guys, in the comments, you can let us know what you think.
Yeah. Again, it is a brave thing to do to open and say, you know what, I am struggling because that person has probably been fighting that internal battle for weeks, months, probably even years, and to then finally be able to come to the parent and have them say, "Nah, you talking foolishness." Like, yeah, I'm never going to want to talk to you about my mental health again. And as a parent, you don't want to close that window of communication because Lord knows who or God forbid what the child could turn to as a way of coping.
It's true. It's true, man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank
Trust me,
you.
I have felt
Shani
it.
is seeing here. Trust me, I've felt and been shot down for less. So mental health is a whole other ball game. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Shani, really hope that you continue to find that courage,
Mm-hmm.
regardless. And as
Mm-hmm.
you were saying before, me and Trey encourage you to seek the help that you need to seek, man. You could always reach out and go on Trey's page and talk to me 246. I have a lot of inspiring things on that page, and they have an amazing team. So you could always get in contact with Trey. Trey would lead you where he needs to lead you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget to follow Talk to Me 246 on Instagram, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
No, thanks for that, man.
yeah, man. Right. So it says here some people just don't have that close relationship with their parents. So the idea of talking to them about these things is just awkward and uncomfortable. It is
Mm-hmm.
true. And I see all the time, if that relationship is not established,
Mm-hmm.
having that conversation is going to be so difficult. It's
Yeah,
going to be
relationship is
extremely
key.
difficult. And the majority of children just leave it up one time because it's awkward. You ain't spend you can't just love your child when your child is a baby and all up in your child when your child is a baby. I ain't saying you gotta be asking your child every 5 minutes. You good? You sure you good? No, but be
We give it
involved
to space.
to
So,
to some
yeah.
aspect, stay engaged in their life and
Mm-hmm.
let them be real with them, because that's one way
Mm-hmm.
the child can be real with you. Tell
Mm-hmm.
them about your own experiences, and that will help them to open up so much more.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but Trey, how do you feel about that?
Yeah. Yeah, relationship is the key for sure. And parents will often, well, I would invite parents to like take that first step in establishing that relationship because the child needs to be able to feel, and not just like in a parent to child relationship, but any relationship. Freud has it. Hey, Brittany. But right, the child, anyone wants to feel like if I share this with you, you're not gonna judge me. But a lot of people just don't have that relationship. And when we're having these discussions, we should be mindful that not nearly every child has that privilege of
Right.
being able to talk with their parents
Right.
or having that relationship.
And I guess that's what Asha was talking about earlier, because she was saying that she doesn't usually go. Well, she when she goes to her parents, they could, they would respond in a way which is not favorable. So
Hmm.
supposedly confides in a friend. So
Hmm.
I see Sophie is saying here that she's a certified bottler over here. Well, so if you could do the same thing as Asha, start somewhere, because once you start opening up to at least somebody, it will
Hmm.
become easier as time goes on, as you build a relationship with your parents.
Yeah.
um so you could open up about these things, because trust me,
Yeah.
it has a different impact when you get that feedback and that support from your parents.
Yeah. And trust the process because it's not something you're going to perfect, especially if
Right.
it's something you've been doing for years. It can take a while to unlearn, but trust the process. It will be worth it. Trust me.
Yeah. Trey, Dominic Haynes here saying, "Hi, Dominic, what's up?" So
Yeah.
how does one establish that relationship? Trey, what do you think?
Ah. I am not in the best position to answer that because I
Mm,
currently don't benefit from that kind of relationship with my parent. Yeah, I would invite the rest in the comments to make
yeah,
suggestions, especially if you
sure.
do have that relationship with your parent. But I admit I myself don't have that relationship, so I
And
can't begin to
I
tell you.
could get earlier. I mean, I didn't always. I
Hmm.
believe now on some level I do, because I did went through that time where it was like, I ain't talking to them, but nothing else going on, because I done see how appearances move and things. So like,
Yeah.
it gets uncomfortable, but I think it has a lot to do with your own personal development, uh,
Hmm.
to get to the point where you know what, you realize family is important, and you need
Hmm.
to establish that relationship, even if your parent themselves, is not showing that same interest. At least you're the
Yeah.
one struggling, but you have to make that same effort to establish that relationship, because it's necessary. I
Hmm.
want, hopefully, they meet you halfway, so
Hmm.
like, I would say you should start to open up about certain things. Like, say if you don't usually talk to your parents about, say if you went out, right,
Hmm.
and you don't usually come home and tell your parents how the night was, what happened,
Hmm.
like, start there. Start by saying, "Oh, me and Robert, we meet up with whoever, and this will happen in night," right? So from you
Hmm.
starting talking about certain topics, and you get more into discussion
Yeah.
as the days, the weeks, the months go by, and you start opening up about different, and about different aspects of your life. Eventually, when it comes to you having a breakdown or something, you will find it easier to
Hmm.
open up to your parent about, well, this is what's really going on right now.
Hmm.
I mean, we hope that help you in some way. But guys, in the comments, you can always leave us your suggestions, because that relationship is key. To be able to actually have a conversation with the parents on these topics.
Yeah, for
He said
sure.
he's already following thought to me. Awesome.
Yay. Okay.
It's saying, this is saying, our children are afraid to talk about their mental health challenges because they are vicariously learning taboos from their.
Yep. Yes, definitely. I remember a day I was at work, and a couple of months back, I think this was when there was a police officer that had committed suicide.
Mm,
And one of the first things someone was going to say is, "That's such a stupid thing to do. Why would you take your own life?" And like, if you're someone and you're struggling with your mental health and you see someone talking about suicide and depression that kind of way, then you learn, well, yeah, clearly this is how they see
right.
it. And if I myself ever got to that point and did that, they would think that I was stupid for doing it. So yeah, for sure.
Sure, here answer another question, Trey. How do we build resiliency and awaken their awareness, so they ventilate more? How do you
Um, when you said there, you mean like the children or the parents? That part is a bit unclear. How do we build resiliency and awaken their awareness? I think like a lot of what we are doing now, talking about it, getting the message out there, because one of the key ways to talk about awareness, to spread awareness, is to have the conversations about it. And it's not always the easiest, especially if you're someone who is struggling with your mental health. It can be scary to be vulnerable because of a lot of the taboo that's surrounding there. And I'm not going to say that any and everyone should do it, but those of you who are brave enough to do it, I really do encourage you to do it, to share your stories and your experiences, because when you do that, you let people know you're not alone in this.
Sure.
This is something that a lot of us,
Thank you guys so much for your contribution to this discussion.
yeah, for sure.
This is our very first episode, and you guys have done an amazing job in contributing. Thank you guys. Don't forget to subscribe and share the stream. Remember, you can always go back and watch it. After the live stream has ended, and you can share that as well.
Mhm.
And Keys 1000 is saying, so your parent is the reason for your mental state, or contributing in some way.
Ooh.
Wow. Well, I would say definitely you would
Mhm.
need to start the conversation with someone else. If
Yeah.
it's a therapist, if it's a friend who has that knowledge,
Mhm.
start talking to someone else and let them help you
Yeah.
like that situation, because that can be very tricky. Like that is very
Yeah.
tricky. That's a very
Because like
tricky statement. Yeah.
I've observed this, and especially with this whole pandemic, there are a lot of people that are stuck with their
Right.
parents. So yeah, a lot of parents can be the source of those problems. I will say, as much as possible, I know it might not be the most practical to like move out of the house, but if there are ways that you can not be home as much as possible, so you spend a little more time at school, or you spend time at a friend's house, or you do an extracurricular activity that takes you away from home just to get out of that toxic environment, then I invite you to do that for sure.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thanks, Keys. Shane is saying here, some parents help you with your mental health when you help them with theirs. Understanding them encourages them to understand you.
Mhm.
That is true. Thank you for that statement, Shane. I'm sure a lot of people watching appreciate that statement. Guys, thank
Mhm.
you for your feedback always. Okay, Dominique says it helps. No problem, Dominique. Thank you. Okay, so we can just move on here. Right.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. But before we get into why do parents react the way they do, guys, we are just gonna take a very short break, real short. So don't go anywhere, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon on Levy Chat. Guys, welcome back to Levy Chat. That was just a short break we took there. Thank you for contributing so much to this discussion. Now, we're going to talk about why do parents react the way they do. Is it because of the generational gap? The point here is saying they think that life as we know it has become so much easier, and that the problems that youth have nowadays are incomparable to what they went through. So
Mhm.
they dismiss us on anything related to mental health.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it's sure that all of we can relate to this. From the time you bring up something, you just get the whole rundown. In my day, I had to walk from St. Lucie to Bridgetown, but I had to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning and da 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 da. And it's like, okay, like we understand that you had it hard, and we do thank you. We are grateful that you paved the way for us to have an easier life in certain respects, but that doesn't take away from the fact that mental health and a lot of other issues are still very real issues that we have. I think what differentiates us as a generation is that we don't just want to live life, we want to live fulfilling lives. And taking care of our mental health has very much become a part of that.
Right. It's true. That was a
Mhm.
very true statement. And you can't really bring comparison into it. I mean, you're gonna understand that we in different times. Yes, you had your issues, but no,
Mhm.
each other suffering from something. So you still have to
Yeah,
put in that effort, and you still have to contribute towards that child's well-being. Right.
yeah.
Next point, it says they think that life as we know it has become so much easier, and that the problems that you have nowadays are incomparable to what they went through. Da, 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 da. Right. Okay. So it says here at the bottom, they come from a generation of children being seen and not heard.
Yep,
Okay.
definitely. Yeah.
Huh. I know y'all. I know y'all. A lot of Bajans heard that term. Be seen and not heard. When you come down with me, be seen and not heard. I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to hear you talking.
Now
Just the
hear
truth,
people
man.
here.
I don't want to hear people talking. That's not right. It is not. It is straight up not right. And
Yeah,
parents, I know so many people can testify to hearing parents say this
for
kind of thing.
sure.
Probably to them as well. It is
Hmm.
not something to say, especially when you know to some extent that your child is suffering from some type of mental illness or is going through something traumatic.
Hmm.
And yeah, like these are not things that we should be saying, guys. And I just want to encourage
Hmm.
when we put a lot of emphasis on the parents, but they say it takes a village. And
Hmm.
guys, you gotta realize friends and everybody else, we are the village, all the mental health advocates out there. You gotta realize you are the village as
Hmm.
well. Right? So we appreciate your guys' contribution.
Hmm.
It all starts in the home in that immediate family, but it's good that we have so many people around who actually care about mental health and look to reach out to others to help them and not just look at it and see let them perish and deal with it's
Hmm.
good that we stepping in and doing that kind of stuff. So that's why I want to thank Trey again. Trey does a lot of research on mental health, and as we've mentioned before, he has started a movement called Talk to Me. You all can follow Talk to Me on Instagram, Talk to Me 246.
Yeah,
Right.
thanks for that.
Yeah, no problem, man. Right. So we have another point here. To think that catering to children's emotional and mental health is being soft or spoiling them.
Hmm.
What do you guys in comments think about that? Trey.
Are you ready to fight? Okay, let me calm down. Yeah, it brings to mind. I don't know if you guys remember that video that was going around with this lady in the church or somewhere she was doing a performance. It looked like a church, but and somewhere in the performance she was saying that, oh, you can't hit the children nowadays because then with this fancy psychology thing and all of that. And I honestly think that shit is sad because it kind of reflects the understanding that from the time we begin to consider our children's emotional health, people see it as, oh, you spoiling the child, oh, the world ain't easy, you gotta toughen up the child a bit. But the world is tough, yes, but you as a parent, you have the opportunity to show your child, the world isn't all hard, it isn't all bad. Like there's still room for love and compassion and empathy. And you as a parent, you have a key role in showing your child that. But yeah, people just stubborn.
It boiled
Yeah.
down to that. Right. We have a comment here from Dominique. Dominique is saying children told to start keeping noise to the point
Mm,
where they literally don't know how to speak up anymore. Wow.
And then when they get to UE, and then when they get to UE,
They
there's
don't
one
know how to
that
talk,
nobody
don't know how
wants
to
to speak
express
or like.
yeah, it happened. Dominique is saying here, I think some parents also don't understand what mental health is and what it really entails. It is true.
Yeah.
They don't understand, but as we said before, they don't have to completely understand. And someone made a comment earlier that their parent did not completely understand what was going on. But like they don't have all the research behind it, but they know something is going on. They know the child is not doing 100%. So they still put in the effort, they still help their child, they still were supportive. So it's not it's where they need to know exactly what to do. Remember, it always boils down to love. When you love, you support. When you love, you're compassionate towards. When you love, you listen. So yeah, a shiny here, and then as soon as your mental struggle manifests as anger, we are the ones with the problem.
Like, bruh.
Yeah. Right. So then we have another point here saying they have an outdated understanding of mental health, only focus on the illness aspect of it and being mad. Most likely they grew up in a generation that heavily stigmatized mental illnesses. This is true.
Yeah.
This is true. We all know this. This is true.
Yeah.
Yep.
And let us know your thoughts in the comments if you agree with that or not.
All right. So you have some interesting points here. They think, think how we use the word mental or connotations of black rock.
Yeah.
So I touched on that earlier. Anytime you hear mental or you hear, having some issues that relates to the mind is just, listen, you don't to black rock. We get over it,
Yeah.
That is not the way to talk, And then second point here is saying the general lack of knowledge of mental illness is true.
That's right.
Third point saying not wanting to see their children in pain may lead to parents downplaying the issue and maybe avoiding the conversation altogether. Trey, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that last point, that was actually an interesting response that came out of the poll. And it's true because like we're not trying to paint parents with a bad brush here. We're just articulating the views and whatnot. But yeah, it could also be a case where as a parent, as any parent, a loving parent, you don't want to see your child in pain. So like if the child shows any signs of discomfort and you ask them a question and most of our responses would be like, yeah, cool or whatever, like in a way you kind of want to believe that, so then you just hear that and you move and you roll like yeah, but avoiding the issue isn't going to solve it. And I find that not just for mental health but with a lot of issues relevant to young people, whether it's relationships, whether it's sex, anything like that, they think that by avoiding that discussion is going to go away. Like
it really isn't. It really isn't.
Yeah,
it's true. And so guys, we want to thank you for joining. We're not done just yet. Shortly though, but we want to share with you a tip for parents. So we're gonna play this video now, and I want anyone who's a parent or you can share with your parents as well, if you don't have children, right? You want to pay attention to this video. We're going to come back and discuss it a bit, and then we will say good night. So guys, stay tuned. Welcome back, guys. Trey, I have a comment here from Arnold Goslin. What's up, Gozzy? What he's saying, I understand the aspect of mental health, and some see it only from a problematic side. But what about mental wellness? Are you willing to be disciplined enough about mental wellness to curb issues later?
Ah, that's a very good question.
It's true.
I agree to an extent. Mental wellness is something that we as young people we have to be on board with, and we do have to be disciplined when we are pursuing it. But also know that again in our society, mental health and mental illness, those aren't things we really talk about. So we haven't really been trained, we haven't really been equipped with these skills. And make no mistake, mental wellness and helping yourself in terms of your mental health, that is a skill, and that requires skills to help you pursue mental wellness. We haven't really been taught about that, which is why I think that in our schools we should start teaching mental health as a subject. Don't wait till they get to UE and they're learning about psychology, and by the time they get there, they probably went through half of the problems that you teaching them about. But like from the time they're in primary school, start to talk to them. Okay, this is what mental health is. This is what mental wellness is, and this is how you can promote your own mental wellness. So that's a very good question, though, Gazi. So thanks for raising it.
Thanks, Gozzy. We
Mhm.
have a comment here from Mario. The stigma is a massive influencer. Parents don't want to know their child has to go down by the mental.
No, it's true. Like legit, it's true.
Sophie's saying her mental health has not been spoken about, like how it's been spoken about now. They hear
Mhm.
mental health and they think Black Raw are mental. And she
Mhm.
says again, and unfortunately, Christians aid in this because we assume a little prayer or deliverance will fix it, which is not the case. Sophie, thanks for that.
Yeah.
Trey, going back to the tip for the parents, do you want to discuss a bit of these tips that we just saw?
Yeah. Just one.
Mm,
Honestly, the point that you don't really have to be your child's friend. Because a
right.
lot of us would have heard growing up, don't think that I just want you little friends, or I'm a parent first, friend second. Like, yeah, but being a parent doesn't necessarily mean that you're not there for your child and that you're not supporting your child's mental health. Like, if anything, that needs to be an integral part of your job description as a parent. So, like, offer them the support that only a parent can offer, you know? And yeah.
Okay, thanks for that, Trey. All right, guys, we just want to thank you so much for joining our first
So
discussion
thank you.
on Levy Chat. Guys, you can follow us on Instagram at Levy Chat. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube and turn on the post notifications. Remember, you could always go back and watch this episode on our YouTube page. Guys,
Mm-hmm.
share it.
Please,
Trey has
please.
quite a lot of knowledge for us here tonight, guys. And you can always go back and see the comments that have been posted in the video if there's some things that you have missed. But guys, we
Mm-hmm.
want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. But before you log off, guys, we're going to leave you with a video.
Mm-hmm.
A video I think is very, 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 very interesting. Just before we go, we have a comment here from Dominique. She says, I agree, we should be taught how to maintain a good mental health the same way we are taught to promote good physical health, eat well. That's very true
I
because
agree.
a lot of people, yeah, just before we go, a lot of people don't take mental health as seriously as physical health because
Yeah.
you get caught, I get caught, I think everybody running to me one night for good. But for in
Yeah.
time, yeah, I depressed is like stay far from you. You got problems, and that is something that we will touch on in another episode, guys. We want to thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank
We
you
will
so much.
certainly expand on this topic some more. Trey will be back. Don't worry, you'll all see Trey's face again. It's all right. Yes, thank you for the
It's
time.
not like they don't got a choice. So.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you, Taylor. Thank you, Sophie. Arnold is saying here, as a parent, how do I differentiate between my child having a mental health issue and them simulating
Ooh.
it to manipulate parents? No, that's the thing. Gauzy,
Hey.
saying late, Gauzy. You're really saying late. All right, we can touch on this straight. Right. But that is true. Like, it's
Hmm.
children can be very deceptive sometimes. I could witness, I could confess to that. There's some things that
Mm.
I'm not proud of
Yeah.
just to get my own way, and it's true. But to differentiate, I think if you know what mental health, what happens when someone is suffering, you can detect whether or not your child is faking. Like you can see,
Mhm.
if you, and that's why we encourage you guys to educate yourself. Yes,
Mhm.
Carrie Berry is asking manipulate. Yes, children can be
Honestly,
very.
it is a valid point because even if it is not between parent to child, think relationships and think like how a lot of
Right.
people would say, well, if you leave me, I can kill myself. Like that is
Oh boy.
manipulation. That is using mental health to
It
manipulate
is.
someone.
That's a perfect example, Trey. But guys, we will
Yeah.
get to that in another discussion. I just want to thank you guys for coming out. Yeah, leave us
Yeah.
video with you. So make sure you watch the video. Good night, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, share. Thank you very much for coming. We will see you next time on Lewwe Chat.
Wait.
One day actually it might be suddenly there, and I know from personal experience, you could think these things aren't around you in society, and suddenly, pop, it's there, and then you have to be able to talk about it to ensure that your child understands and knows, why those issues are there and what's going on, because otherwise, again, it becomes a bit of a taboo, I suppose.
My daughter has had friends who've self-harmed, for instance, and obviously that was quite scary for me, that my daughter could also be exposed to, those kinds of pressures. But I was quite relieved that she was able to tell me about it, and we jumped on the internet and did some research about it. And I think that empowered her to support her friend better.
This is a very important subject, same as you'll have any other subject that you would feel uncomfortable talking to your child as a parent. The reason why it's really important because it can really help a child to develop into a person that you would like to see your child to be in.
I think so many mental health difficulties could be presented or not get as bad if people felt they could talk to someone about what was worrying them or concerning them, and if that can be done at quite an early stage, that can make such a difference to how things progress, really.
If you're feeling depressed, feeling down in the dumps, actually that's quite normal to feel those, I suppose. And I think, just because we don't talk about mental health issues, actually I think, the more you hide an issue, the more it becomes an issue. So feeling down in the dumps becomes more of an issue because if someone says, "Oh, back up your ideas, come on, smile and get on with it," and sometimes, it's just not possible. And I think, what I'd be really keen to ensure is that we don't do that. That around that's it. You don't end up in this bubble almost that, oh, it's all right, you can get through anything just by smiling and carrying on. I think that's a real big pressure on children and young people.
For me, being a new mum, I think we need to break that. I think we need to break that stigmatism and let our children know that they can come to us. Because if they can't come to us, who are they going to go to?
The reason why it's important for them to come, or you have to make them feel comfortable, because mental health issues doesn't really discuss at school as much as other topics like maybe alcohol or maybe relationships. That is why this is where the parents come, and they need to discuss if they see anything wrong, if they see your child is discussing about their friends is suffering from some sort of mental health issues. So this is where the parent come and they need to talk to their child. It's very, very important.
We work and we socialise with so many different people. The chances are someone is going to have some kind of issue, some kind of mental illness, and actually they need to understand that and know that that person is no less of a person because of it.